Hey everyone, this is Lisa from TRW, and in this video I'm going to show you how to start cutting Siser EasyWeed with your Silhouette CAMEO. Now I'm going to go over why you need to mirror your design, what HTV really does, and how to get a good test cut with your machine. Now, if you want to learn how to cut Siser EasyWeed, then go ahead and keep on watching. And while you're here, don't forget to click the subscribe button on our YouTube channel and press that little bell so you don't miss a single video from us here at TRW. Alright, so I am here in my Silhouette Studio software. Now, I'm going to be cutting this with our TRW logo. So if you go back and look at some of our other videos that we are putting out with cutting our material, we're going to cut the same logo for everything, just so you can see how it works on our different types of material. Now, I have here my Siser EasyWeed. Now, I'm just going to do this in white. Now, if you look at it, we have a shiny side and a dull side. So the way that the heat transfer vinyl works is that this shiny side is a carrier. It's what holds your design together. So this is how you will see your design at the end. But we can't cut on this. We have to cut on this side. So what we do is we flip our design or mirror it so that it can cut properly. Now, with our heat transfer vinyl, because it has that carrier, we don't need to use a cutting mat. Now, you certainly can use a cutting mat. It's definitely up to you. But in this case, I'm going to turn off my cutting mat so that you can see how it works without it. So I am in my page setup. That's going to be the top button on the right bar in your software. Now, we're going to go over to cutting mat. We're going to choose that and go to none. So now you can see our cutting mat is taken away. Let's get rid of this web address. I don't need that. And now we're going to bring our design all the way up. I'm going to use my rectangle tool on the left toolbar, and I'm going to draw a weed box around my design. Now this is just made so that I can quickly pull up on my box. It'll be easy to weed my design, and you'll see once I cut it. Now we have this all set up, and now there's just one more step we need to do before the cut panel. We're going to right click on it and flip horizontally. So now this is going to cut backwards so that we can weed it and it'll apply correctly onto our material. So let's go over to our send panel, and you'll see that this box right here has a bold line, but the TRW doesn't. Now this is a really common thing when you bring in an SVG file into your designer edition or business edition. A lot of times the cut lines are just turned off. So we're going to select both of these, go over to our cut settings down here, and we'll do cut. So now you can see they're all set there. And now we're going to go over, and I'm going to choose my custom cut setting that I put in here for EasyWeed, and I'm going to show you the settings here. Now, I always recommend programming your own custom cut settings. I think you'll get the most accurate results and what works best for you. Now, if you want to learn how to do custom cut settings, find it in the description below. I'll also link it in the top up here for you so that you can get exactly what you need. Now for EasyWeed, I like to keep my blade at 3, my speed at 10, my force at 5, and I do 1 pass. Now if you would like to do that with your machine, we do have custom cut settings on our website. You can visit our website and you can see right here we have our custom cut settings as well set up right here for you. So we're going to go back over here, and now I'm going to jump over, show you how to load this into your machine, how to do your test cut, and then we'll be ready to go with our cutting. Alright, so here we have our cameo here, and this is our Siser EasyWeed. This is my dull side, this is my shiny side, this is the carrier, and that will go down. So we're going to line this up with that line there. Let's hold it against our rollers. Don't push too hard, you just basically want to hold it right against there, and we'll hit load. Now you just want to make sure you have this lined up next to that line and that this is kind of going straight. You want to make sure that your material always loads straight, because that is how your material will slide later on when you're doing something like that. So we're going to go over, and I'm going to jump back over. So we have this set right here, and we're going to go right over to our software. So you can see right here we have our design all set, and right at the bottom we have test. So we're going to click this test cut button to make sure our settings are set up correctly. Alright, so our test cut is done. Let's wait for this to finish working. Then we're going to go over and we're going to hit unload. Now when you do your test cut, you want to see just a tiny, tiny little indent in your EasyWeed of what your cut lines are. Might be hard to see in this lighting. And you want to flip over to the back side and check. Sometimes you can see the lines through the back. That won't be a big deal. But if it feels indented, that means your thickness is a little bit too high. So you want to bring your force down a little bit. So we can see we have this set right here. And now let's go over, and I'm going to use my weeding tool. We're just going to grab it from the corner. So it does like a little box with a triangle in it. So I'm going to grab from the corner here and then pull up. Right, so we want our triangle to stay behind and that square to come up easily. So that looks pretty good. Now, this is where you want to reevaluate. If your triangle comes up with it, you want to bring your force up a little bit. If you cut through there, you want to bring your force down. And this is something where you have to readjust based on your material and your machine to figure out what works best for you. Now, as you can see, I've done many test cuts, so I'm pretty good at figuring out my settings, but again, you always want to do your test cuts. So let's go ahead and load this in. And as you can see, that square is in the top corner where our design is going to be. So I'm going to hit right here on the corner of my Cameo. This has like a move compass, for lack of a better word. I'm going to bring my arrow over. I'm going to start this blade on the other side of my square. And then now we can just jump back to our software. Here's our design. We have our settings all set, and we're going to go right here and click on Send. Alright, so our material is done cutting. You can see the way I'm holding it, you can kind of see the cut lines right here. So that's good. So let's unload. You can kind of see a little bit of an indent to them if I move it a certain way. Not a big deal. You can see that it's all set. Now, if you cut your EasyWeed and you feel that it's like super bumpy right here, a lot of times that means you've cut too deep. So just make sure you're adjusting as you go. Now I'm going to pull from this corner. So now we have our design start weeding. And the great thing about EasyWeed is it's pretty easy to weed. It's super simple. If you're having a ton of trouble, especially in corners, that is a pretty big indicator that your cut settings are a little bit off. If you're having a hard time and your corners are snagging and feel like you have to pull certain ways, try cutting it again with your force or your thickness up just a tiny bit. Now, if you keep increasing your force and you're still having an issue, then you may want to check your blade depth as well. Your blade may not be cutting as deep as it should be. So this is the way it will apply onto your shirt. Of course, once we're ready to apply it, I'm going to cut all this excess around so that only this TRW will apply. But you can see our carrier is clear. You can see right through there. And we have a pretty good cut with our EasyWeed from Siser. So if you would like to see more videos on how to use your Cameo, how to use your material, just make sure you subscribe to our channel. We're going to be posting a ton of videos and everything you need to get started with your Cameo. So if you like this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Leave a comment below, let us know what you think and what other things you would like to see in future videos.